Ever have one of those days? You know the ones. You're just stuck, lying in bed, scrolling on your phone, and you have absolutely zero energy to do anything. It's that nagging feeling, that little voice telling you you're being so unproductive. And it really makes you wonder. Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? And it's so tricky because, let's be honest, from the outside, they can look exactly the same. But figuring out the difference is so important. Why? Because one is supposedly about your character, and the other? Well, that's a serious cry for help. And look, as this question is on your mind, you are so not alone. Far from it. A whopping 75% of adults in the US have felt symptoms of burnout. That is huge. This isn't just a case of the Mondays, you know? This is a full-blown epidemic of exhaustion, and we really need to get a handle on it. Okay, so let's break it down. To really get to the bottom of this lazy versus burnt out thing, we first need to get a super clear definition. Like, what is burnout anyway? All right, so here's the official scoop. Burnout has nothing to do with willpower or being weak. It's a state of just complete and total exhaustion. We're talking emotional, physical, and mental. It's what happens when you've been pushing through way too much stress for way too long. And that right there, that leads us to the biggest difference between the two. It really all boils down to this: a character trait versus a temporary condition. Yeah, this really lays it all out. Laziness, right? That's thought of as a part of your character, something that's stable over time. It's just how a person is. But burnout, oh, that's totally different. That's a change in who you are. It's what happens when someone who's usually a high achiever, a real go-getter, suddenly hits a wall and just can't. They can't find the energy to care anymore. And that's the key, right there. I mean, if you're looking in the mirror thinking, I'm so lazy, just ask yourself one simple question. Was I always like this? If the answer is no, then chances are you're dealing with something much, much bigger than laziness. So, okay, how can you really know for sure? Let's walk through 6 big signs that what you're feeling is actually burnout. Think of it as a little self-check-in, just for you. All right, sign number 1. You feel totally disconnected from everything. It's like you're on autopilot, just going through the motions. You know that feeling when you're in a conversation and suddenly you realize you haven't heard a single word anyone said? That's the kind of detachment we're talking about here. And there's actually a clinical name for this feeling. It's called depersonalization. It's this weird sense of emotional numbness, almost like you're a spectator watching your own life happen from the outside. You just don't feel like yourself, and everything feels far away. Okay, on to sign number 2. And this one ties right back to what we were just saying. A person who is just lazy, well, they're generally not big on exerting effort. But if you used to be super motivated, a real high achiever, and now you can barely find the will to get going, that huge contrast is a massive red flag for burnout. Sign number 3 is all about passion, or really the lack of it. And this is one of the absolute cruelest parts of burnout. It steals the joy from things you used to love. And this can pop up in all sorts of ways, right? Hobbies that you couldn't wait to do now just feel like another chore on the to-do list. You might even find yourself resenting your job or your studies or a sport that you used to be passionate about, probably because that's the very thing that pushed you over the edge. Next up, sign number 4. You've become moody and irritable. Find yourself snapping at people for no reason, feeling like your emotions are just all over the place. This is a classic sign of burnout that a lot of people miss. It's a huge contrast to someone who's just lazy, who's usually pretty chilled out and easygoing. All right, sign number 5. And this is one that people around you might start to notice first. When burnout really digs its claws in, even the most basic things, like taking care of yourself, can feel, well, impossible, like climbing a mountain. So what does this look like? Well, maybe your eating or sleeping patterns are totally out of whack, or you've just stopped making an effort with how you look. Maybe you're pulling away from friends and family. It's that feeling where even the simplest little tasks just feel completely and utterly draining. And finally, sign number 6, and this one really pulls it all together. This stuff doesn't happen overnight. Burnout isn't a switch that just flips. The loss of motivation, that feeling of being disconnected, neglecting yourself, it's a slow burn. It's a process that builds up over time. In fact, research shows it actually happens in distinct stages. It's kind of like a slow descent into total exhaustion. Okay, so take a look at these 5 stages. It's a wild ride, and not in a good way.
It starts with stage 1, the honeymoon phase. You know this feeling. You take on something new, you're excited, you're ambitious, you even kind of like the stress. But then you hit stage 2, the onset of stress. That early excitement starts to fade, and the pressure really starts to build. And if you don't manage that, you slide into stage 3, chronic stress. Now, exhaustion is your new best friend, and you notice you're not performing as well. From there, it's a straight shot to stage 4, burnout, where you are just done, completely depleted. And the final stage, stage 5, is habitual burnout. This is where that awful exhausted state becomes your new normal. It's just how you live. And the really scary part, those warning signs can start showing up as early as stage 2.
So, wow. After hearing all of that, the big question is, what now? Where do we go from here? How do you move from just knowing this stuff to actually doing something about it?
Okay, first things first, and I really want you to hear this. Burnout is a condition. It is not a character flaw. It's not you being weak. It's not a moral failing. It is your body and mind's natural response to being under way too much stress for way too long. So please, let go of that self-blame. Just recognizing these signs in yourself, that is the most powerful first step you can possibly take. Catching it early makes recovery so much easier. And hey, if any of this is hitting a little too close to home, please think about talking to a mental health professional. You don't have to go through it alone.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Don't get overwhelmed thinking you have to fix everything all at once. Just ask yourself this: what is one small, tiny, gentle step you can take for your own mental well-being today, right now?